Welcome to this episode of the Growthcast. It is me, Jackson Campbell, joined again with Dallas Pruitt for today's extended cut weekly review on the episodes that Dallas dropped this past week. We're very excited. We love doing these episodes. We love jumping in, reviewing each one of the daily drips, and then pulling out actionable items is always the big takeaway that we're trying to do on these episodes so that we can implement these principles that Dallas teaches us on a day in and day out basis. Dallas, how are you this morning?
Dude, I'm doing good. I'm not doing as good as you are, though. Knowing where you're headed today, I'm telling you, I'd be doing a little bit better if I was in your shoes. So
yeah, it's 5:18 right now, 5:18 a.m. here in Maui on a Friday. Dallas and I usually record these episodes on a Friday after all the daily drips have dropped, and then we obviously release this episode on Saturdays. But I've got some friends in town, and I haven't been able to spend a lot of time with them because work's kind of been so crazy. But today, as soon as we're done recording this episode, I'm taking some time to go build those relationships and strengthen those relationships with people I love. I'm very excited to do that. And we're doing Road to Hana, which is awesome.
You got no other option than to be where your feet are today, because there is no service for the majority of that drive.
No, there isn't. And I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to connecting with a friend of mine that I've had for years. He's one of shout out Alex. It's Alex Sutton who's here. But I'm very excited to go spend some time with him. Those relationships are important. Those relationships are very important to me. And I guess an actionable we can pull out of that is make sure you do something this weekend or today to strengthen a close relationship. Because those relationships are very, very important.
Ties right into the first drip, really.
Yeah, it does. Let's dive right in. So Monday, you talked about how to attract the right partner. You talked about being a mirror, but I'll let you give us a quick review, and then I'll share my comments at the end. Go ahead, Dal.
I really like to start it by just like addressing a thinking error that I think happens, that I've noticed that happens with a lot of like early business owners, is they look at all the areas where they lack. I mean, they're skilled. They obviously have a skill set. They have a vision. They want to go build. And in the areas that they lack, they look to fill those holes with other people who have skill sets, which is great. And they spend a lot of time focusing on like who those people could be, and who those people are. And it gets them further and further away from developing who they are. And, again, being a mirror and trying to be that person that they are trying to find those qualities in. And that's really how you attract better people to your circle in building something. I'll speak personally to this. Like in the early stages of growing my business, it was always like, man, I need to go find these people. There's these missing pieces. And that was frustrating because those people were really hard to find.
Yeah.
It was not a simple process, and it got me further and further away from developing myself, developing the business. And what I found was the more I reversed that thought process, or like flipped that thought process to developing me, developing the qualities that I wanted to see in others, developing myself and my skill set in the areas where I lacked, it brought other people into the circle, brought other people into the vision, and they were able to better see what was going on. And at that point, I didn't have to convince people that it was a good idea, that they needed to jump on board. That type of approach and process actually attracted people who were already like-minded and already got the big picture. I didn't need to explain it to them. They just, does that make sense? It was more magnetic that way. And so, but again, it's very easy for us to, think, man, there's all these holes, there's all these gaps in the team and the area, these skills that we need in order to thrive. And, if you spend more time focusing on how you can develop yourself as a person and be that kind of person for the other people around you, and look to add value instead of look to bring somebody in that can add value to you, really, like that's the root of it, right? It's like one mentality is you're looking to other people to bring value to you, but you're not recognizing that you're skipping over a really important step, or something that's even more foundational, which is it's your job to bring value to others. And by bringing value to others, that's how you attract people.
Totally. No, man, that you said it perfectly. I don't think there's anything I need to add there, but it's a principle that we actually talked about in the episode that dropped this morning, today, Friday, the Aloha Friday, Abundance Will Always Win. Tyler talks about the relationship that he's been able to build with Eric Thomas. And it was strictly off asking, how can I provide value for you? What can I do to add to you?
And what did that do? I mean, I'm sure you talked about this because I haven't had the chance to listen to the Aloha Friday yet, but I'm not going
to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it, Dal.
Well, it caught him off guard. I mean, like, I'm sure you talked about this, but like it caught him off guard, right? It was like, wait, I usually am brought in to bring value and people expect that of me. And it caught him off guard that the first thing that we addressed was, hey, what can we do to bring value to you? Like, how can we help you?
Yeah.
And again, I think it's magnetic. It's a good word.
And because of that question, sorry, Dal, because of that question, the relationship has been able to blossom and continue post that business dealing that we had with Eric Thomas at Peak Partnership. So it's been awesome, and it's a testament of that principle, to be a mirror, be the person that you're trying to attract, because you'll attract those people to you for sure.
I'll even like give more of an actionable here, because we have so many goal-oriented people who listen to the Daily Drip and just the Growthcast as a whole on a very consistent basis. It's like worthwhile to address a process that you, myself, Tyler, and most members of our team and network go through, or should be going through on a regular basis when defining goals. Is, most people create a goal and it's like, create the goal, bring specificity to it, be detailed, give a deadline, like all of it, make it measurable, however you want, whatever acronym you want to use to define the proper types of goals, right? Sweet. Most people do that get goals. But there is one really important step that I think a lot of people don't do, and it's why it's included in our journaling system that we use across the board, and that is to ask yourself the question, who can help me with this goal, and who can I help with this goal? Who can I bring value to? And then there's this progression that we go through every single time we define a goal. It's not just define a goal. It's literally the goal is rooted in, how can I bring value to people? Like, the reason I'm creating this goal is because at some level, at a high level, through this goal, I'm going to be able to bring a ton of value to people, to help and serve. Yeah. And so that's an actionable in and of itself. Again, how to attract the right partner? Well, how to attract, achievement could even be part of it, is look to value, right? Like, don't create a goal that's self-serving. Create a goal that serves others, like create a mechanism there, that a catalyst for like impacting the world and impacting, your circle of influence for the better. And that gives you more fuel, more firepower every day to go out and be motivated to do something, because again, it's outward. It's not self-serving. It's not selfish. It's selfless. It's looking to others and, rooted in purpose and your why. I mean, dude, it's really powerful. It's really powerful. And it's a super important step that a lot of people just don't really think about when they set a goal. It's very self-serving, and it's not out of malice. It's not out of, I'm not saying people are selfish. I'm saying that like, it's just a normal type of process for most people to go through, to be like, what kind of goal do I want to achieve? And it's really like focused on you. And it's like, no, what do I want to do to help other people through my goals? How can I impact the world? How can I impact these people around me, in my close inner circle, in my bigger outer circle, thinking bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Like, how can I serve? How can I help?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Such a great actionable there to definitely think about when you are doing your goals, when you are planning out, is how can you add value to somebody else? We talk about the law of, I want to make sure I say this word right, reciprocity.
Yeah.
Reciprocity, right? What you put out is what you get in return.
For sure.
So, yeah, definitely. Couldn't agree with that more. Awesome. Let's move on here to Tuesday's episode. Love the process. You've talked about this multiple times, but I loved this take on it as well. And it's always a good reminder to make sure you're falling in love with the right thing when you're doing this work. But Dallas, I will turn it over to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just a gut check, really. Yeah. Just a perspective, just a safeguard for your perspective, because it can get off base, and it's because people say things, or you've heard people say stuff like, love what you do and you'll never work another day in your life. And I freaking hate that statement. Just to be like frank, I think that's a dumb I think that's a dumb, false statement.
Yep.
Love what you do and you'll never work a day again in your life. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Anything great requires a ton of work, like a ton of work, like daily work, hard work, gut-wrenching work sometimes.
Not necessarily fun work.
Not super fun work all the time. No. But it was just a gut check to, one, bring clarity to that statement, like most importantly, which is if you love what you do, you'll grow and you'll succeed and you'll thrive. And what I mean by that is if you love to work hard, you will be successful. You will be very successful in anything you choose to aim at. If you love the work, anything you choose to aim at, right? You can dial in that vision. You can dial in specificity with the goal. You can go through that process. And as long as you love to work hard, right, you'll be successful. You'll thrive. You'll be fulfilled. That's actually where fulfillment comes from, dude, is hard work. Fulfillment doesn't come from loving what you do so you never work another day in your life. Like that actually sounds very unfulfilling, because work is fulfilling. Serving people is fulfilling. Sweating blood, sweat, tears for a bigger cause outside of yourself, that is extremely fulfilling. And it's hard work, and it's not easy, and it's frustrating, and it's emotional. It's all those things. So it was just an invite, man. Like, gut check yourself. Make sure you're not falling into the trap of that statement. And next time you hear it, let it go in one ear and out the other. You don't need to, put somebody in their place. You can just, come to the recognition that that's false, and you can gut check yourself and say, no, I'm going to love the work. I'm going to continue to place my love on the right things that produce.
That's awesome. No, such a good reminder. Such a good reminder. I don't think I have anything to add there other than amen and ditto. Couldn't agree more.
There's a reason I bring it up all the time. I mean, I literally like every about 20 days, it's a love the work type of episode. And it's just because it's one of the easiest things to get away from, it's like distractions, like everything that's pulling our attention, frustration, self-doubt, like all those things get us away from the work.
No, and that's awesome.
Anyways, it's always a gut check.
But yeah, placing your love and placing your fulfillment in the right areas, I think, is probably the biggest takeaway from there. Is make sure you're putting that sense of fulfillment, that it's coming from the right place.
Yep.
So thank you, Dal. That's great episode. Moving on to Wednesday here, better ways. Loved this episode. I got multiple comments on this episode, Dal. I've talked to people about this one. Go ahead. I won't even say anything. Go ahead.
So I wanted to go through the mental note from this drip. The mental note was the old way isn't the only way. It's just one way. And the invite was to always remember that there are other ways. There are new ways, and sometimes there are better ways than the way you know. The better question that we can ask, or some of the better questions that we can ask that help us find the right ways, which is what we should be focused on, is like best possible solution all the time, not my way, right? It's just best possible solution, most functional, most efficient solution to the problems we face. That should always be our focus. The mission should be the focus, not anything personal. Once personal things get in the way, it creates problems, right? You are not able to efficiently build something of greatness. You're not, right? And so some of the better questions that we can ask is, as I'm identifying the right way here to the best possible solution, is my ego. Like, I got to check my ego. Is my ego obstructing my view? Meaning like my self-serving bias on the things that I've invented in my own brain. Am I closing off my perspective to other better solutions or better ways because I'm so determined to do it my way, right? So it's just, just asking yourself, like, my ego, is it in the way? Do I have a blinder up? If I do, what is it? What other options are there? And it's just driving home the fact that, dude, old ways, some of those old ways are really good ways. They actually will work really well. But there's also new ways and different ways and better ways. And if your focus every time you face a problem within a team dynamic and a personal situation, if your focus is always on what's the best possible solution, not If you just focus on that and keep your perspective wide open, you'll get where you want to go faster and better and happier. It's just a fact, man. But you'll never do that if you have your blinders up and your ego gets in the way.
We're right here. We're talking about problems and difficulties that could jump up in your mentality, but in your mindset. But we could also ask the question: is where else is this affecting you in your life?
Oh,
where else is that ego halting you from learning new things to better in all avenues in your life, your relationships, your finances, your whatever it may be? Where else can you ask that question? Is how can I do things a little bit better, a little bit different? No, this was a great episode, Dal. Great
point, Jax. I had that experience. I have that experience in parenting over and over and over again with my wife, man. Like she'll give me a piece of insight or pull something from a book she's reading. And sometimes I recognize, and now it's way earlier on than what it used to be, but like that my ego's telling me like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. But like, yeah, right. You know, it's right. And then I'm like, wait, who are you to say that? Like I'm talking back to my ego, like, you dumbass, shut up. Like you're completely closing off any option at something possibly better than what you previously knew. And that's an issue, bro. Like get yourself in check, you know?
Totally.
And embrace that thing. I saw this visual. It was this other, I wanted to share this. Maybe we'll create something and post it up. I don't know how to link this up because it's just an image from something that was random, but it had this visual and it was like this line, that was identifying like growth or a ceiling. And basically it was identifying that the way you create a ceiling for yourself or the way you close off doors to better ways is another way to put that, right? Based off this is to adopt the mentality that you're an expert, you know? And I think that that goes for anybody, even if they've been proclaimed as an expert, even if they legitimately are an expert. People who are experts, ironically, they're the ones that probably love learning most. And they themselves probably don't self-proclaim themselves as experts, right? Interestingly enough, you know, I think of somebody like Ryan Holiday. Holiday, he's an expert on stoicism, right? Like if anybody follows Ryan Holiday, reads his books, he's an expert on the art of living. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he's never going to proclaim himself as the expert. He's going to continue to focus on learning as much as he possibly can so that he can fulfill on helping as many people as he possibly can through his expertise. Yeah. You know, and so, but again, like you as the person, you as the expert, you have to adopt the mentality that you're not the expert. You're learning as much as you possibly can. Right. And again, I mean, it's kind of this like interesting thing because you are an expert, but like the way to become more expert in anything and increase your expertise is to focus on not being an expert, focus on learning. And
being a student.
Yes. And I want to learn, if you adopt the mentality of I want to learn, dude, that takes the ceiling off the roof. And now you can go as far as you want. Does that make sense?
Totally. No, totally. I think the biggest takeaway then from this episode and kind of what we've talking about right now is check your ego. Check your ego. No matter how long you've been working in a specific space, no matter how long you've done real estate, multifamily real estate, you're on fire, you're closing a bunch of doors. That's awesome. But make sure to check your ego because there's always a better way. There's always more to learn. There's always better ways to do things operationally, better ways to go about business. So definitely, be an expert. Work really hard to consider yourself an expert and work hard, but never, ever, ever.
Do you remember when we were at Peak and Ed Milet said, the older I get, the more I learn that I know very little.
Yep. That's a lot.
I would consider Ed Milet an expert.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. But that was a statement made from his mouth.
Yeah.
The older I get, the more experience I gather, the better I get at things, the more I understand that I know very little.
It's awesome.
That is a mentality that we should all adopt.
It's powerful. It's powerful.
Super powerful.
Awesome. I love that. I love that little tangent you went on there. It's so powerful. Okay, let's move on here. Episode from Thursday, Patiently Impatient. Love this one. talks about, go ahead, Dal. I'll let you dive in and I'll add my thoughts at the end.
Yeah, I think it's super easy to get confused or honestly adopt the wrong type of mentality in terms of in regards to patience. When you're trying to do something really big and cultivate this business and this life that of your dreams, it's super easy to adopt the mentality of like, well, I'm working hard and like my time's coming. And when you start saying things like my time's coming, or I'm gonna patiently wait my turn, that can start to bleed out into what looks like less action, I guess, for lack of better words right now. It creates inaction. If you focus on being patient, it really does create inaction. Now, patience is a virtue and patience is important. And really where we should attach patience to is the results that we get, not the work that we do. And that's really what we're trying to clarify here is that, you can't let that type of mentality of like, I'm going to wait my turn seep in, because if you continually sit in that thought process, it will create less action.
You're going to be waiting forever.
You are going to be
waiting forever.
Yep.
We put on these seminars. We put on these seminars for people. They come to our free 90-minute class where Todd's up in front of the room. I'm talking about coming to our 3-day class, coming to our 3-day workshop. A lot of people that are listening to this know exactly what I'm talking about. There are so many people that come back and say, oh, next time. Oh, they come back to the back of the room at that free day to sign up for the 3-day, that free 90-minute class to sign up for that 3-day. They come back and they say, oh, I'm just going to wait. I'll wait till the next time you guys are around. I'm going to think about it. Those people never show back up. They end up waiting forever. So you have to be careful to be patient for the result, not to put in the work. The work has to start immediately, and it has to be consistent. So
Absolutely.
No, I just wanted to
impatience works with action. And patience is patience is absolutely something that you should tread lightly on when you don't know, right? Like it's tough to take action when you're unsure. But I'm telling you what, dude, there's plenty of times in your life, you think back, anybody who's listening right now, there has been plenty of times in your life where you had surety of something, but you allowed fear to settle in.
Mm-hmm.
And then that fear tricked you into thinking that you needed to wait. You needed to think some more. Well, then thinking became more and more of a mess, and fear settled further and further in. And that's what caused the inaction. But you labeled it as patience or, whatever. A lot of the times when we're saying we're trying to be patient or, whatever, we're actually being fearful. We're actually being fearful, not patient. We're being fearful. Again, I'm not claiming that anybody should go out and take massive action on something that they're completely unsure of right this second. That's probably not good advice. That's probably not a principle that you should plow through. But what I am saying is that you'll have a moment of surety on a lot of things in your life. And then shortly after that, if you don't take action, what happens is what? You let fear start to settle in. You start to listen to an improper voice. You start to pay attention to variables that don't matter, that aren't real, and you create monsters and scary situations out of nothing when you had surety of something. And that's a problem. So that's the invite is, dude, when you have surety of something, and even sometimes when you don't have full surety, but you feel very confident, you have this intuition, right? Dude, action works. Be impatient on action. And action will produce, and fear actually dissipates. Fear goes down as we take action, but fear increases as we don't take action and as we sit in patience. That's a problem.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. Dallas, you said one thing there about sometimes it's hard to take action when the choice isn't clear. I feel as though I just want to add to that and say, I feel as though a lot of the times we trick ourselves into thinking that the answer is not clear. We know we need to push that fear aside, that fear that creeps in to make us think, oh, I'm not really sure. Oh, I don't really know. No, you know enough to be able to take action, right? You don't have to know everything to be able to know, oh, I know each step along the way that's going to make sense for me to be able to be whatever successful.
You'll never know everything before you make those decisions.
You'll never know everything, but you'll know enough to be able to take action. And I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. Indecision is the wrong action.
Right.
Like be decisive. It's a hard no, hard yes.
Yep.
It's not maybe sucks, dude. Like maybe sucks. And I'm not saying you can't ever use the word maybe, but man, like don't say it very often.
Yeah.
Like it's either no or it's yes, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that the no today can't be a yes a week from now, but like don't stay stuck in maybe, because you'll stay stuck there for a very long time.
Yep.
Indecision is the only wrong decision most of the time.
Love it. I think that's a perfect way to end that episode. Dallas, these drips were amazing, man. Absolutely crushed it as per usual. If you weren't able to jump on and listen to these daily drips, they're short 3 to 5 minute episodes that I definitely want to encourage you to go back and listen to, because there's a lot of gold nuggets that Dallas and I didn't even point out today. So I definitely encourage you to go back and listen to them if you haven't yet. Dallas, anything else you want to add regarding these drips this past week?
The only thing I want to add is jump off the freaking bridge waterfall for me today on Road to Hana, please. Because man, I'm telling you, I know jealousy is not a mental principle, but man, I'm feeling a little jealous today. So jump off that freaking bridge waterfall and make sure you don't hit the rocks.
Here.
So
you just need to get out here and come visit me. No, yeah,
absolutely.
I will. I'll definitely have some fun. For those of you that are listening, please do leave us a review. I know we challenged you today when the episode dropped this morning from the Aloha Friday episode to go leave us a review. We would appreciate it. If you haven't yet, please go leave us a review, leave us a rating. Definitely share this episode if you found some value here. We definitely want to be able to reach as many people as possible. Dallas, thank you so much for your time, my man.
Thank you, Jack.
So appreciate you. If you guys need anything or have any questions or have any sort of input or anything you'd like to let Dallas and I know, please email us at growthcast@multifamilymindset.com and we'll get back to you. Dallas, thanks again, my brother. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care, y'all.